Coming straight out of Ecamm. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam.
Hold it, stop the music!
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Can I please have your attention?
It's showtime. Are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready, let's go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Ecamm Friday live demo. Today, I am joined by none other than Mr. Moderator, the Paul Duncan. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great. How are you?
All right. I'm doing good, actually. You know, it was funny because we were setting up the behind the scenes thing, and as I was setting everything up, I was telling Paul, let me check out live demo mode. I was showing him how I had everything set up for today. And then it hit me. I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to try to go live in live demo mode so that you can see what the intro looks like, but also understand like what's going on in the background. And I said, not today, but I'll think about trying that another day. And I accidentally did exactly what I said that I wasn't going to do, but do in the future. So the beginning part of the intro was in live demo mode. So it was pretty interesting, but I'll take a look at the replay to see exactly how that looked. So, all right. Well, it is live demo, so we're going to be going through all aspects and we will be jumping back and forth from the live demo mode. But we just wanted to address some of the things that, you know, that our community, the Ecamm fam, have been going through. So we're going to do our best to illustrate this amazing program. So first, let's go see exactly who's here. We also have Tatiana hanging out. She's saying happy Friday. All right. Business Growth Ready saying evening to all. We got K-Wall Comedy as well saying hello to us. It says you guys got that uniform memo. Close, but not the same. I just needed to wear something bright so that I could be seen. Because if I wear a black shirt, then the whole beard and everything just meshes into like a coat. So I need to sometimes put, you know, contrasting colors just so that you can see my face. Well, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the like button. It goes a long way. And these are the things that I usually say in chat, right? Or Mr. Moderator that we usually explain. But now I get to iterate them with voice. So, all right. Interview mode, right? One thing that I wanted to touch on this week is basically how do we do this, that we're doing right now? Because apparently there's been some feedback a little bit this week about the interview mode. And I think it's one of the main features or one of the best features of Ecamm. And yes, Paul just put there as well. If you do have any questions whatsoever, something that you want us to address that maybe we're not talking about but has to do with Ecamm, please address your question with a Q colon. It should look like this. Otherwise, it's just conversation in chat, which, you know, we might miss. But if you put a Q colon, we'll make sure to address that question for you. Okay. So As far as the issue that most people have been dealing with, as far as the audio goes, there's something that we need to address, because we were just talking about this as well, which is the quality of the audio and the quality of your live stream. Now, we just did the Flow podcast on Tuesday, and we had the ability to have some amazing guests, and one of them, Dave Jackson, actually was able to iterate a an idea about your show, right? Whether it's a podcast, a live stream, or anything like that, quality of your show is solely dependent on you. So in that aspect, it is like your show. And Doc Rock is always saying that if Oprah shows up and doesn't want to wear headphones, Oprah's not even going to be on his show. And it's kind of like you're going to have to put your foot down, because to get the best quality audio, you're going to need certain things, which one of them that we always highly recommend to separate your audio being captured to what you're hearing is a headphone type situation, an in-ear monitor, something like that. And a lot of the things that we've been seeing is that we've come across that some people are saying that our guests or their guests do not want to wear headphones. Now, that's where you have to decide, because Dave Jackson said, I will invite someone to my home, but if they decide to take a dump in the middle of my living room, they are no longer welcome, right? So that's exactly how you have to think about your show and your production. Now, you're doing this for your community, for your audience. And if you're doing it in that manner, then you need to put them first. And if you have a guest that just kind of wants to nonchalantly do what they want to do, come onto your show and not abide by your rules, then if it were up to me, my suggestion would be just like Doc says with Oprah, you're not coming on my show, because of the simple fact that it's just the same way. Like if you were to go to somebody's home and they ask you to take off their shoes or to take off your shoes, right? Out of just respect, you're going to do that. So if you happen, hypothetically, to have guests that don't want to respect your rules and the way you run your show, then I suggest looking for the next guest. What do you think, Paul?
I agree. Yeah, it's your show, you control it. If you don't mind having, you know, subpar audio and dealing with issues and stuff like that, then that's your call. But if you want to maintain the integrity and the quality of your streams, yeah, it may be somebody that you've really wanted on your podcast or your show or something like that, but it's up to you. If they can't meet your requirements, it's just like getting a driver's license. If you can't meet the requirements to have a driver's license, you don't get a driver's license. You may be a perfect driver, but so it's totally up to you. And I have said no to people before too. So,
Yeah, you kind of have to. And me, I go by the moniker Mr. Camera Junkie, and I love everything photography and video. But playing this game, I also have a saying that bad audio is unwatchable, right? And
yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Even though I love the cameras and the tech, I also understand that none of that is going to impact the same way if the audio is not clear, crisp, and clean. And that's why we recommend the things that we do. You're trying to separate so that you can produce a live show and do it in the best way so that you can get the highest production value. Now we have our first question here. Says oh, what can we get slash buy overlay templates for Ecamm Live? I am both untalented and lazy for that ask. Thanks. That's very funny, but very truthful. So thank you for your honesty. There's quite a few people who actually have that available, me being one of them. You could reach out to me through the Discord or through the Facebook or every other social media, but there's a variety of members of the Ecamm fam that are available to provide this. Everything that you see here in front of you is done within Ecamm. So we will be able to have a quick conversation, kind of figure out what it is that you want, and then someone like myself or others will be able to build something like this and send you over the complete profile so that you're ready to go once you open up Ecamm and everything is in its place. So hopefully
Yeah.
that answers that question.
And if you're looking for like some canned, just kind of generic ones, if you go to the building block, one of the building block streams, there's links in there that have them. Live Streaming Pros has them too. Alec Johnson has some pre-made ones. Like, Luis said, he has some, he'll make some for you. So, big thing is, either find one of the people that we talked about or post something in the Facebook or Discord community and just ask for help. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah, like you
President
see, like there was so many that I couldn't even pinpoint. I'm like, I do it, but yes, Tatiana's saying like I didn't know that I make overlays. Yeah, I make the whole run of show, so to speak. So like the intro, the outro, and I make it easy so that all you have to do is like kind of plug and play your cameras because they're already set with the camera switcher. So you know what? Let's go into live demo mode and kind of explain that real quick. Right here, you're seeing the behind the scenes of what I'm doing. But in the camera switcher window right here that I have to my right hand side, it gives me the ability to see all the cameras that I have available to me. If I hit the tab on the right hand side or on the top, I will go to the A/B categorization, which I can literally select which cameras are set. So I can set camera Paul as camera A, and then I'm set as camera B. And then what that allows me to do is to build out all of the scenes for the client at that moment. And I will preset all of the cameras to different shapes, sizes, and different aspect ratios according to their needs. Once they're there, then I will just assign each location or each camera source to a letter that goes to the guest. And then once you export that profile and somebody imports it, the only thing they have to do is go to this A/B switcher side and put guest one in that position. So I'll kind of switch over to myself, right? Oh, that wasn't the right one, the two, right? And then switch this one over to Paul. And then all the scenes that are set up on the scenes window and the scenes panel are going to take effect according to those numbers, and everyone will be sized accordingly and in the correct position. So that's how I use the camera switcher built in with the A/B functionality for the cameras to easily set up profiles so that when you go to switch a camera, it's as simple as switching it in the camera window. And then you don't have to go through all of your scenes to individually check off every single one of those cameras. As soon as you make the effect here, it will then trickle down through all your scenes.
Yep.
Now, another thing is that a lot of people don't see is actually how I bring interview guests in. So I'm going to switch my window over here. I'm going to take that off camera, so to speak, and I'm going to bring in this window. Now, this is the interview window. This is how Paul calls in. So whenever you have a guest go in through a link provided through Ecamm, right? So that you can get your information here and set up all those settings at the bottom. It's as simple as having Paul call in and he becomes a camera that's available to me on my switcher so that I can manipulate in every way, shape, or form so that I can continue to create new scenes. So if, for example, we wanted to make a screen share scene, right? I would be able to kind of go into preview mode and start building that scene while this scene is still active. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Command Enter. And you will see this little mark over here that says preview mode. And then we'll also get a preview window that pops up in our system. Now, the live window down here is what is being broadcast to everyone. So if I were to switch off live demo mode for a quick second, boom, right? The only thing that you're seeing now is basically what was in that program live window towards the bottom, right? But now we go back into live demo mode and you're seeing the behind the scenes. This allows me to continue to have this live scene where I have Paul and I broadcast as the main scene when you're outside of live demo mode. And this will then allow me to then go into what a completely different scene. But as you can see that the bottom overlay stays live with both Paul and I. This is where I can completely manipulate the scene and create a whole new scene, right? So in this producer view, let me unlock it so I can manipulate it. And I can take Paul's camera and just drop it in here and now add it as a completely different like setup. But I'm doing this all behind the scenes while Ecamm is still just pumping out the fixed kind of scene that's already been preset. So all the movements that I'm doing on the actual scene here, like moving Paul around, changing it from square to circle, right? So let's make you a bubble here, right? Doing all these differences in changing the size, all of this is being done in the background because we are in preview mode, right? I am previewing the next scene. And yet the live that you're seeing just kind of there at the bottom over here, right? That live is what's still being pumped out. The conversation continued to go, and you can build these scenes out on the fly. Once you're happy with this and you want to say, hey, you know what? This is what we're going to use, then you could just simply hit publish. And now the publish seed will then fill up that live, and that's what will be shown. So if I were to exit live demo mode now, right? Now you'll only be seeing the big version of me with Paul hanging out here in a small little bubble. And we no longer have like the aspect of, seeing what's going on or moving things around. But that also gives me the ability to switch back to the original shot. And even though I'm seeing that on my Ecamm, it's still not being broadcast because what we have is the live until I once again hit publish. And then it will publish that scene and it will do the whole transition. And that, in a nutshell, is basically the difference of how you would bring in a guest, or how you would bring in a guest, not the difference, but how you would bring in a guest, and then how you can manipulate the scenes on the fly using preview mode. So let me go ahead
And
and.
Homesick Mac brought up a question because when
Mhm.
you were talking about assigning cameras and all this stuff, the reason Ecamm came out with the camera A, camera B, camera switcher setup that they have is it's not an Ecamm issue, it's a Mac operating system. What happens is when the Mac restarts and reboots up, it goes through and it reassigns all the USB and port connections and all that stuff. So your cameras may get seen at different points in time in the boot up process. And so it's going to assign one to position A, position B, position C, and those are going to possibly change every time you reboot your computer. So what happens is you've set up your scenes, you've set up everything correctly, and you've rebooted your Mac. You go into Ecamm the next time, and all the cameras are in the wrong position. It used to be you had to go into each scene and reassign each
Mhm.
camera. But because of the ABCD camera switcher we now have, if you assign camera A, camera B, camera C to the scenes, if they get scrambled when your Mac reboots, all you have to do is go, okay, this camera is camera A, this camera is camera B, and it fixes it for all the scenes that you have. So yeah, this is a common issue, but it's not an Ecamm problem. It's a Mac operating system, and it happens every time your Mac reboots or you've shut it down and you restart it again. Everything gets reassigned, and they don't always come back in the same order.
Yeah, and to explain that to you, let me give you an example. I'm going to go back into live demo mode because I actually run across this problem all the time. In my setup, I actually have 4 cameras. 2 of them are connected via the Elgato Camlink 4Ks, right, to get the 4K imagery. And those 2 are constantly being switched. So right here, you can see it says Camlink 4K, and it's got a black screen, and then the Camlink 4K2, which is where I have my video feed. So currently, I don't even have the second camera turned on. That's why we're seeing a black screen. But every time I reboot, every time I reset this, those constantly switch. And that's why I have it there so that I can go into the AB and simply switch this from being a black screen, which will represent all of my A cameras, to the correct cam link so that I can get the appropriate shot. So at this point, I really don't care what the computer is calling it. I just have it to the point where all I have to do is go to the camera switcher window and then just switch that up very quick on the AB side to make sure that all the cameras are where they're supposed to be. And once I set up camera 1 or A, B, C, and D, then all the rest of my scenes are populated accordingly, correctly, and I just move on because I know that that's taken care of.
Yep.
All right. So we got some other questions here. So let's see
There was
what
one
else.
from
Mm-hmm.
Rickster about the Stream Deck being compatible. And yes, the Stream Deck is compatible with
With
Ecamm.
Ecamm.
Ecamm has probably one of the most extensive plugin list available for the Stream Deck of any of the applications. There's a ton of buttons that you can program in your Stream Deck. Just about anything that you want to do, and anything that you can't do, you can program a hotkey to do the key sequence that will perform certain things. So yeah, there's lots of stuff. It is definitely. I have 3 Stream Decks, 2 XLs, a Plus, and a Pedal, that I use.
Well, you're way more extravagant. Me, I have the 15 key, and this is actually how I'm running this show to be able to have a conversation and do all of this. So, one of my favorite buttons, believe it or not, is this little guy right here, which is live demo mode. So, I click that, and that allows you to see the behind the scenes right away. But then also, I can click it to a button, and it's gone. It allows me to bounce back and forth, whether it's live demo mode, program mode, different scenes, everything under the sun. And I feel that Ecamm has actually one of the more populated like options with all the different things that you can do with the Stream Deck built right in as one of the options from the what's it called? I'm forgetting the name of it. The configure window on the Stream Deck where you're
Yeah.
able to configure it and also load profiles. Ecamm has like the most plentiful options on the right hand side as far as like built-in plugins for the Stream Deck, in my opinion.
Yep.
All right, so we have another question here. Let me see if I understand this correctly. I want to do online website product demos. Can I use Camtasia with Ecamm, or can I do it directly with Ecamm? I believe you can do it directly with Ecamm. Now, if you're talking about Camtasia, if it's either a program or a website, you'll be able to navigate it through Ecamm. So one way or another, you'll be able to either put in an application and share the window that you're using on that application on your computer, or if it's a website, you'll be able to drag in that window and then also have a toggle where you can actually navigate the window and move it around within Ecamm so you don't have to actually go back out to a browser and keeps it all in house.
Yeah, Camtasia is a video editing software. So if you were demoing Camtasia, yes, you can bring that in as a screen share of the Camtasia app, and you can, then share that and talk through that and show different things. But it just depends on what if you're demoing, yeah, you can do that. But if you're creating stuff with Camtasia, there's lots of stuff you can do directly inside Ecamm, and you don't need something like that. You can bring videos in. You can create overlays. You can lower thirds, um, all kinds of different stuff like that. So it depends on what you're actually trying to do.
Okay.
Dox's Camtasia is a screen recording app.
Oh, okay.
Ecamm does recording, so yeah, you don't need Camtasia at all. You can. What we're doing right now, Luis is streaming this out to YouTube, but he's also recording what he's doing. So Ecamm is versatile. You don't have to stream. Ecamm can also be used as a live recording. The tutorials that I do on moderating on my channel, they're all recorded using Ecamm, and then I upload them later into YouTube. So you don't have to live stream with Ecamm in order to get benefit out of it. You can do recordings too.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite features because it almost makes these things, let me bring them out. it almost makes these things obsolete.
Yep.
Because right now I have 4 cameras connected to Ecamm, right? When I go to create content, I will then basically set the 3 main ones to record internally in isolation. So that would be my main camera, my side camera, and then my overhead camera. And I'll have all of them recording at the same time. So if I'm fiddling with something in my hands or doing anything, they're all recording in isolation, each individual track, including audio, into a folder. And as soon as I'm done with that recording, the folder, I'm able to just pop it up and have it right on my desktop, which then allows me to open up Final Cut Pro and just drop the files and get right to work. I totally bypass the fact of having to like remove memory cards from 3 or 4 different cameras and then import those into Final Cut Pro, and then once they're imported, to basically synchronize them to make sure that they're all starting and stopping at the same time, which is one of the features that I think is so overlooked when it comes to the isolated recording, right? Once I do that on Ecamm, every single camera, all 3 of them that I'm recording, are going to start and stop at the same exact time. The audio that I'm recording in synchronization with them are already going to be there and is going to be started and stopped at the same exact time. So that when I bring all of those files, no matter how many there are, into my Final Cut Pro, all I have to do is literally line them up to the front and they will match all the way through, which saves so much more time when it comes to my editing process. So the fact that I bypass memory cards and I have synchronization kind of like built in because they all start and stop at the same exact time, it really makes multicam editing a breeze.
Yep. And Rich also made a comment. He says, I want to annotate or highlight parts of the screen for a demo. There are ways to do that within Ecamm too. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's all doable within Ecamm. Um,
Yep. All right. So I do want to address this because we got Homesick Mac giving us a super chat. This is like kind of rare, but highly appreciated. The sentiment, of course, is what I appreciate. So thank you very much. That means he's really enjoying the content. Doc is also answering to some questions here about Camtasia as well. He says all of his Final Cut Pro tutorials are done straight into Ecamm. No need for Camtasia. Okay, and it says okay, so we're just sharing. Okay, once again, if you have any other questions, go ahead and put a Q colon in front of them, and we'll be happy to take care of those. Now, I'm thinking, let's give a quick demonstration of how we would build out that scene. What do you think, Paul?
sure.
All right, so once again, I'm going into live demo, right? You're seeing the behind the scenes. So right here, let's say I wanted to do a share screen, right? All right, and we'll see which one we'll do. We'll come right over here. Actually, let's go ahead and let's just start a new scene. I'm going to create a new scene, and let me explain as well. The background gradient that I have here would normally be the black screen or no camera as far as the source. So if I go into my source, you see it says blank. So there's really nothing there. But within my overlays window, I have this gradient background, which is what you're seeing, the colors, and it's just there as a static image. And it's under the category of show in background, meaning it's going to be there at all times. So just by hitting the plus and creating a new scene, we'll still be able to have that background in place of the black background, which will then allow me to easily grab our cameras and just drop them in here in a variety of different shapes and sizes. So now we're just going to do a couple bubbles. Boop. Right, drop them at the bottom. We're looking good. And then now we're going to populate the center part with the share screen. So we can select here and we'll just click there. And look at how simple it is. It's already got everything pretty much populated, but it's above our faces. So everything in Ecamm works in a level of hierarchy. So right now, this would not be a good shot, obviously, right? It's cutting both Paul and I's faces off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that share screen and I'm going to physically put them underneath the other cameras, and they kind of just overlay, kind of like a, what was it? What were those books that I'm running such a blank on it? Like arts and crafts books, where you would just put pictures, and I can't remember the name exactly, but hopefully you get the idea that I'm trying to say. So basically,
What I
it's
was
kind
going to
of
say was goes very old, which is probably, I think, even way before your time. But there was something when I was a kid called color forms, and you just
color
peeled them
forms.
off. Uh-huh. Little vinyl things that you put on pictures, and you just layer them around.
See,
I think George said scrapbook.
scrapbook. Yes, that's the word. Like
Yeah,
I'm
I would.
like running such a blank. Yeah, like a scrapbook, basically, that you would like layer things on top of it, right? Before you finalize it. The way that Ecamm works is like level of hierarchy. So what's on top will literally be on top of that image, and they will just kind of overlap. So with that being said, as you can see, we just got basically, I'm probably driving Doc Rock crazy because he's seeing so many files on my desktop. But this is my secondary desktop. So if I were to open up any application here, let's try Final Cut Pro, right? Let's say that's your editing program of choice. I will give it some time. And now that becomes that. But that's because that's what's on my screen. So that's an edit that I was just working on. And that's to try to stay away from what is popular in today's day and age. We won't get into that conversation, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the little pencil here, right? And it's got the primary display as what it's showing, but I'm going to switch that up because I have the ability to go to specific things, including Final Cut Pro, because now it's an application that is open and Ecamm will recognize it. So I'm able to click that, and you can see that now it basically disappeared all the icons on my desktop and everything that was surrounding it, even though they're still there. Right? I still see everything, but Ecamm is now just broadcasting Final Cut Pro as the program itself because that's the only thing that I want to demonstrate. So at this moment, I will have complete control over Final Cut Pro and be able to navigate it, edit in it, and use it as normal, but then still have it on display. So that's
One
how
thing,
simple it is. Go ahead.
one thing to keep in mind when you're working with screen sharing and applications, the Mac has the ability to have these virtual desktops where, a lot of times you'll see something that moves up into, and my brain is not working on the right vocabulary on this yet, but the application is there, but it's kind of on a virtual screen someplace else, technically. Ecamm can only see active applications. So it cannot see an application that is, sorry, Maestro is making a visit here. Ecamm
Guest
cannot
appearance.
see non active applications. So if the application is stuck on a virtual desktop someplace, Ecamm will not see it. It has to be actually active on one of the active desktops. So hopefully that helps because a lot of people get lost and they say, well, it's there, but I can't find it. And frequently that's why, because it's on a virtual desktop.
Which is very important. Yeah. It has to be active. And that's why I said as soon as I opened it, that's when Ecamm was able to recognize it and it gave it to us as an option to actually put that on. And that's how simple it is. And now to finalize it, right? I will rename this window Edit Live. And that's it. And now I can lock that in place, right? And that becomes a solid scene that I can go to over and over again for a variety of different, aspects. Because not only can I share the application, but I can share another application like a Chrome window, right? And let's say I just wanted to broadcast Chrome, and now we're sharing the internet in that same way. All right, so let's go back to this and let's hit the little button to get out of live demo mode. So let's go ahead and see if there's any other questions. It doesn't look like it. Usually that's a good sign, right?
Yep.
But also let us know if you are coming up with any, like any issues that you're coming across, because a lot of times we don't experience the same exact issues. So we're here every week to try to show you how to use these products, but then also try to help you out with the situations that you're, the headaches that you're coming across as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you have questions about Ecamm or something like that, feel free to ask it. When Doc does the
This is
stream, he
the
kind of
time.
takes you step by step through everything. And what we do is we come in every once in a while to fill in for Doc, and we kind of just answer any burning questions that you might have about Ecamm, how to do something, and all that stuff. So, we kind of take a different approach, but the same thing is here. Ask your questions away, and we'll do our best to answer.
All right. George says, I've never been comfortable using spaces. Do you know what
Me
he
either.
means?
It's the virtual desktops that the Mac does. That's what they
Mm,
call it. Yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, I that's why I have 3 32-inch monitors surrounding me. It's like
Mhm.
I like to be able to find things.
Yes. Well, talking about monitors, that's one of the things that I also have quite a few of. I would say three, right? I would say I have three monitors. I have two, I believe they're 24-inch or 26-inch televisions as my monitors. And I have, most importantly, this little 7-inch high definition monitor that is like mounted for cameras, but I have it set up as a teleprompter, or what some people call a confidence monitor. So right now,
Yep.
a lot of the information that I'm usually dealing with, and when I'm doing live streams, excuse me, dried up real quick. The main thing that I try to look at is audio, because a lot of times, like it's happened to me, we'll be sitting here doing a live stream for 5 minutes, and before we check our comments, we've been on mute the whole time. Ecamm made a shirt about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're on mute. So that is one of the things that I try to avoid as much as possible. So within this little, teleprompter confidence monitor, what I actually have is the Ecamm sound levels. Oh, somebody's asking for my assistance. I have Aiden here, of course. So give me a quick second. But yeah, that these are the main things that I have as far as my production goes. So I make sure that I have them here so that I don't have to go to a different monitor at a glance to make sure that the audio is working correctly and that certain aspects of the production are going the way that I want it to.
So Rich asked a question about, he says, my wife and I want to do video recordings where we're sitting at the same desk, but we would also like to have an online guest. How would we do this? And if you've ever seen some of the streams we have, like Anna and Fulgens will do this, where they're in the same location. They have
Mhm.
two separate cameras, or it can be one. It just depends on what you want to do. But they have both of them on a camera, and then they bring in a separate guest. So they have their cameras, and then they have another camera that is the guest camera bringing in. You could even take, if you only had one camera, you could split that camera up, create three cameras. One's of the same camera. It's just one, you have it repositioned and zoomed so that it's focusing on one person. Then you have the other person, and then you have your guest person in. So you can do that all very easily in Ecamm. Um, and it just depends. If you have two cameras facing at your wife, you just bring each of the camera, or you and your wife, you bring those two cameras in. It's separate cameras. So there's lots of things, ways you can do it,
Yeah.
but it would
Well,
be
I'm
basically
gonna go.
just like this. Yeah, just like what
While
we've
you were
done here,
explaining it, what I did was turned on my secondary camera, right? So now I'm going to
saving
go
you
back
time.
into live demo mode, and you'll be able to see me right over here. So that's kind of the way that I would do it. And once again, we're just going to do it on the fly. I will hit a new scene, and we're going to call this,
Yep. As Doc said, it's super easy.
yeah, interview demo, right? Now we have that. We have multiple cameras. So the way that I would see it is that Paul is our guest, right? But I'm going to represent myself as Rich and his wife. So the first camera would be Rich. I'll just drop that in here and I'll change it from circle to maybe tall because we're going to be dealing with 3 people. So, not changing that. We're going to change it to tall and we're going to embiggen that like Doc says. We're going to drop that right there. Then I'm going to take your wife, drop the secondary camera connected to the same computer, right? Maybe sitting off to the side or across from each other. But at this moment, you'll do the same thing and then drop the same size there. Kind of center it. Where's the center line? Not getting it, but we'll continue. And then we'll have our guest, Paul, calling in from California, and we'll just drop him in right next to us the same way. And right there, that's how easily you just set up a 3-person conversation shot. So this would be the main shot for Rich. This would be the main shot for his wife. And then you have Paul there as the guest, and you can all speak and have the conversation. And that's how simple it is.
So did that help, Rich? Let us know
Hopefully,
if that
take thumbs
worked.
up
There's some other questions. Yeah, just let us know in chat.
and then just switch right back here, boop, and get out of live demo mode, and we're right back to it. All right, so let's see if we have anything else.
A lot of people have ATEM minis or things like that and have them connected. One of the things that happens when you do that is Ecamm only sees your ATEM as one camera. So all the stuff that we just showed you with doing, being able to add additional cameras and be able, all that flexibility is gone if you're using something like an ATEM mini or something like that, because you don't have control of all those different cameras within Ecamm. The ATEM may have 5 cameras connected to it, but as far as Ecamm is concerned, it only sees the one camera. So when you use something like that, a lot of people think, "Oh, this is great because I can have all these cameras." There's trade-offs that you're putting in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Doc, I forgot the name of it. Doc has one of the newer devices that actually allows you to connect up to 4K um, connections and have Ecamm see them individually through a new piece of hardware. I am still using the cam links. The difference is that you can get the same quality from the cam links, but you're going to have that issue where they're going to go kind of like cuckoo on you every once in a while when you reboot your computer and you have to readdress them. The one that Doc has set up kind of has their fixed individual number, so they'll be able to just kind of set it and forget it. So there's a variety of different options that you can use to connect a variety of different cameras to Ecamm. Now,
Yeah. The
go
other
ahead.
advantage with having the card like Doc has set up is it only takes 1 slot on your Mac, whereas you have 4 cameras and you have
Very
4
true.
cameras, you're taking up 4 slots. Now, Homesick Mac brought up something where he said, talking about how we set up the scene with the guest. He said, "I did this with 1 camera on 2 persons. I brought in the camera twice and cropped it to only 1 person was visible."
Yeah.
That's the other way of doing it, and that's what I was saying. If you have 2 cameras, that's great. If you only have 1 camera, you can have a wide picture of both you and your wife. You bring that camera overlay in twice, and then you just crop it so one image is just on you, and the other image is cropped down so it's on your wife. So it looks you've got 2 cameras, but you're actually only using 1.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of demonstrate that with the same scene that we had just built out. So that would basically me changing this from camera C to camera A, right? But seeing that is the same exact image, what you would do is that you would then go into this magic wand, right? And you go into camera A and you'd be able to zoom and pan to then adjust it. Oh, but it's actually, you know what?
Okay. You'd need to assign the
You would
same
need to
camera
assign it to
to
to a
camera
different
A to
camera.
2 cameras. Yeah, to 2 cameras, and then you can adjust them individually. So you would have the same camera. Say, like for example, you'd
Yeah.
have the same camera assigned to camera A, camera B, and then camera C would be the
I
guest.
Mhm.
And then you could go in and tweak camera B to be zoomed up or do something different.
Well, I
So,
just did it. I just switched it to camera C, right? So that then
mhm.
I'll be able to switch this to camera C, and you're gonna get a different image. Once again, you
Same
hit the
camera,
wand,
different effect.
hmm right? And you can do a variety of different things from extremely zoom to, like go upside down, right?
And people use this a lot throughout different scenes. They're using the same camera, but, for impact or expressing a point, you may switch to a scene and suddenly your camera is very close up on you when you're explaining something so that, it's kind of getting the point across. So you're using the same camera, you're just using different looks at that camera, different zoom points, different romping points, different pans, different things like that. So Ecamm is very flexible in that way.
As you can see, you could just add effects to particular cameras, to particular things. So, you can do anything and pretty much
Yep.
everything with Ecamm. That's why we love it so much. I got to be honest with you. Like, whenever I come across a problem, the first thing that I think about is how can I use Ecamm to just kind of mimic it. And I got to be honest, like, I, I I don't think there's a tool missing for me to basically recreate just about any scene. And Doc is always saying, if you see something on TV that you want to recreate, take a snapshot, throw it into Ecamm, like kind of give it 50% opacity and start recreating it with the tools within Ecamm. I think that's such an amazing exercise because it allows you to see how you can rebuild with the tools in Ecamm. And once you have everything inside here, it's so much easier to kind of like duplicate and just toggle a little bit, right? So if somebody were to come in and just call in as a additional guest, right, randomly, I'd be able to just take that overlay where we had the three, adjust it for that person, and I can do that once again, like I was saying, in the preview mode, all behind the scenes while you're broadcasting, or like I do it during the Flow podcast where I'm not even on the screen and I'm constantly making those adjustments behind the scenes and just making sure that we're producing a good product.
Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. There was something that I was hanging on to mention, and it just
Oh, I hate that. I'm sorry because I probably
it
did it to
it
you.
no, it flew out the window. Ah,
All right. So the
that
question
probably
we
come
have
back
here.
up
So what was the name of the capture device Doc is using? I missed it. Do you remember the name? Because there's so many that
It's Neil posted it. It's the Declan Quad
the quad.
card. Yep.
Ah, uh, right now, I just heard what some people could be considering the echo problem that we've been dealing with, and it just seems to be a bit of slapback. So, something as far as the interview mode is going, that I heard that coming back on my end, but I would love to know if anyone else heard that because it could be something that only me as the producer is actually experiencing because I heard my own voice go through here. So I would love to get that information just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Question: is it possible to have a camera slowly zooming in? Not automatically as of right now. So you'd be able to kind of go into the same thing, and we're still in live demo. Go into the magic wand, right? Go into camera A, and then do this like zoom and pan where I can slowly start zooming into that camera.
Oh, I just remembered.
Hmm? Okay, go ahead.
Ta Sorry, talking about overlays and things like that and creating stuff within Ecamm, and as Luis said, if you see something that you like, make a snapshot and you can build it. And Infulgence on the building blocks stream, they do those every Wednesday. Um, they have done a lot with replicating and building overlays and thinking outside the box in the world of overlays, green screens, and all kinds of stuff like that. So you may want to check out the building blocks. There's a playlist of all the past stuff, but there is a lot of stuff in there talking about how to build uh, overlays and setups where you're replicating like a sports channel or an interview or different things like that, bringing in presentations and stuff. So I would highly encourage you to check you know their streams out for those kinds of things too. Right now, they're kind of focusing on some podcasting stuff, but if you go back to some of the previous streams, like in January and the latter part of last year, there's some really cool stuff that they've done.
Oh yeah, I would recommend definitely checking them out. Excuse me.
Yeah,
All right.
nobody heard
Well,
nobody heard it but you. It's just voices in your head.
no, actually, Kevin, I thanked him. So thank you, Kevin. He said he heard it for just like
Okay.
half a second, which was exactly what I heard. But that's the whole thing. I just want to make sure that we're all basically on the same page, because for us to fix the situation, we need to know exactly what the situation is. So, rest assured that K and G, Ken and Glenn, are on top of it. We're doing this, and I mention it because we're so on top of it. We're really getting down to the nitty gritty and fine point, or finding the exact point where the issue is caused so that we can take care of it. But these guys are amazing. That's one thing that, on top of everything, I think the best thing of Ecamm, the two best things, is how fast and responsive Ken and Glenn are when it comes to making adjustments on their program. Because it almost happens like, it feels almost daily, but it's usually weekly, but it feels that way because they're always on top of it. And the
Sometimes it
community.
is daily. Sometimes it is daily.
Yeah, that's why. But I don't want to put it like that to kind of put pressure on the guys, because they're amazing. It's not like that they're actually daily, but if it's possible, they will definitely get it done and upload it. So, like an issue that I was dealing with in beta, right? Before, like, I sent the logs because that's how we run beta, right? I sent the logs over, but before I even addressed it in Slack, I went and checked to see if there was an update for beta, and there was, that fixed that same exact issue that I was having. And I was like, I don't even need to mention it. And that's where I say that, Ecamm is like second to none. That and the community. Every single one of you that's here hanging out, learning week in, week out, members of the Facebook and the Discord communities, the Ecamm fam, all of you is the absolute best part of this program. So we thank you, as always, for being the best part of what we do every week.
And I want to toss in a little note here about support. The Facebook group and the Discord group are great places to throw something out and ask a question if anybody else is experiencing it or getting some feedback. If you feel that you are having a problem or you're in a situation where you are up against a wall and you need help, it's fine to post something in the Facebook group, but if you actually need help, it is extremely important that you open a support ticket either through the help menu in Ecamm or through the support.ecamm.com page. In the lower right hand corner, you're going to see an orange dot. Open a support ticket there. That will get the actual attention of the support team. It also puts it into a system where we can start tracking what's going on, and if we can start seeing if there is a problem going on. The support team and Ken and Glenn do kind of watch Facebook and Discord occasionally, but when they're busy working on something or something's going on, that is not where they're going to see if there's problems or stuff like that. So their attention is not focused in that area. It's focused on the support ticket system. So if you are having problems, the support ticket thing is the place to go to open a ticket. It's great to ask advice in Facebook and Discord, or post feature requests in the beta groups. That's perfectly fine. But if you truly need support, you need to open a support ticket. Don't post it in Facebook or Discord and think that somebody's going to jump out there and help you. It's not the way it works.
Yeah, and the Ecamm support team is really, really good. But we are getting to the top of the hour. if you do have any last or lingering questions, please be sure to put them into the chat right now so that we could address them before we sign off. Is there anything else do you think that we've missed or that you still wanted to talk about, Paul?
Nope, I think we've got everything.
All right, that sounds good. So we'll just give it a minute to see if anyone does have the last minute questions. Now, just to kind of talk about what I didn't want to talk about, but what are your thoughts on the new Vision Pro that's being released today?
It's a big box.
It is. Well, I was very fortunate to be able to order one, and I will be picking it up tomorrow. So I'm really excited about this for a variety of different reasons. Me as an editor, content creator, I really want to see what's the future of editing. Now, there's a new program which I just started messing around with this week. Now, it is a cloud-based editor, and I don't want to say anything more than what I'm allowed to, but it's going to be integrated with Ecamm very shortly. So the same
It's
way that you'd
yeah.
be able to send your files directly from a push of a button. Oh, we got Doc joining us last second. All right. So, hey, you know what? We got Doc here. Let's bring him in. All right. Let's see. We got his overhead camera, but we're going to simply
He's
go
gonna
to that.
scold us.
Well, let's see. Let's see. I'm down for it. We're going to go to the other interview mode, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to camera A, and I'm going to turn off the pan and zoom. Okay. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to change this to Doc Rock's camera. Aloha.
Let me. Aloha. You said I was walking back from the mailbox, and you said something about idiots that call you live and just mess you up. So I'm like, why not?
There we
That was
go.
an invitation.
Yeah.
Hey, at least he caught the invitation. You understand what I'm saying? Because I threw it out there. I was like, if somebody were to just randomly call, oh, he's rubbing it in because he's got the Vision Pro already. Is it in the case?
No, I haven't
No,
unboxed it yet. That's coming up after you hurry up and get the hell off the internet.
You've
all right.
unboxed it. You just haven't opened it.
No. So I thought I was going to get screwed because I thought they were going to make me unbox it at the store. But what they actually do is you use a demo unit so that you can keep the unboxing thing because that's part of the deal, right? One of the things about Apple products in general, not just this, but when you peel that white paper off of your MacBook, it's almost like
It's
the
a
first
sensory
time.
experience.
Yeah, when you found the one and you go in the room and you slide that T-shirt off and you're like, back when we had guns and pecs and whatnot, you slide the T-shirt off, you be like, "You ready, girl?" Like, yeah, it's that feeling, right?
It's too funny.
It's that when you slipping them off.
So what you
Well,
showed
Paul
is the
never
case.
said "You ready, girl," but you know what I mean.
Long time ago, I was confused, and I did.
I love you, Paul.
No, what Doc just showed is just the travel case. That is
Yeah.
just a case to hold
Yeah.
the Vision Pro. That's something that I'm gonna see if maybe I pick up next week, because the way my checking and the savings, so
That's the feature. The feature
exactly.
is the C and the S.
Yes.
Yes.
They
So
be like, Aiden, you want to eat ramen, son? He's
exactly
like,
right. I'm not
no.
putting him through that. So, just one step at a time. I was like, I know I can take care of it for a month before, I'm able to get those finances to pick up some more accessories. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
actually, the
able.
speaking one seems like it's in stock now, and the speaking one is like $80, I think.
Oh, see? So it just depends. We'll see exactly what happens because I was not able to pre-order on the 19th. So I had to wait. And what I did was I was able to order it yesterday on the 1st and have it delivered to a local store. So I'll be picking mine up tomorrow, and I already have the whole appointment. So you that have already done it, just picking your
Yeah.
brain real quick. the experience that they're giving you at the store before you do the unboxing, do you think that's taking away from the unboxing experience or your first?
No, because
No.
the main thing that they want to do is make sure that you got the right seals. Because if you have the wrong seals, you're going to be screwed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they had me do, they brought out a demo unit and they tell you how to hold it and grab it and put it on. So you're not grabbing it by the part that will pop off, which is the light seal because it's magnetic. To have you put it on your head, and then I won't tell you the rest because I, you know, the little girl noise I make when I see something.
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon noise.
Yeah, that noise. Oh, somebody has it on tape. Yeah. Jeff. Jeff has it. I made that
I
I
gotta
made
get with Jeff to get that sound.
I made that noise in the busy Apple store amongst all of my old coworkers. And they were like, he still do that.
That's
It
so
was like,
funny.
ah! Yo, when you see listen, son, when you see the quintessential cursive hello pop up,
But that's what I'm saying.
bro,
You see
it's
that at the
orgasmic.
store?
It's orgasmic. Yes.
You see, that's the whole thing. Like, that's where I wanted to be able to record. And this is just me. I wanted to be able to record myself, like, fresh off
You
that
can't.
experience.
You can't.
Because
Yeah,
The reason why, okay, first of all, most stores don't like you to record in store. Period. It's just an
no, that's
espionage
why
thing.
I wasn't thinking in the store. I was
Oh, you
thinking
mean at
like
home? Yeah,
at home
yeah,
and just
yeah, yeah.
experiencing it
It'll
for
still
myself.
hit you the second time. I ain't gonna lie. It would.
I was
Check
gonna
this out.
say I was gonna say, yeah, you I think it's gonna hit you the same way. For
Yeah,
the first few times you use it, you're gonna have that experience.
yeah. What happens when you open your phone, right, or your computer, and the hello comes up? Like even Gretchen and Chris both just said, peeling the paper off is a satisfaction thing, right?
Mhm.
And Gretchen said on her refurbished iMac, I mean refurbished studio, they still wrapped it in the white drawers because taking that drawers off is like the first time you're taking the drawers off with the new partner. You just like, here we go, in the back of your head. You don't say it out loud, you get kicked out. But it's
That
it's
will
a
ruin the experience.
it's an experience, right? And this is this thing that I don't think a lot of people understand why us Apple people are the way we are. There's something about the way they do that. Now, here's what I challenge though. As a creator, right? How do you learn these things in the public from Apple and BMW and the place, the experiences that I've had? How do you bring that to your content? How do you bring that to your Ecamm show? I tell you what, I'm not picking, but it's not making your camera auto zoom. It's about bringing some quality to what you're talking about. And I know why everybody wants to do all of these fancy features is because they want to look like TV. And can you do it? Yes, we can facilitate most of what you want to do. But what you should probably do is get better at speaking and presenting and saying what you got to say and giving people that same level of polish and courage and, like efficacy that your Apple, your BMW, your Tiffany's, whatever brings to it. You got to bring that to what your content is. Not, I made the background move. Ooh, that's over in like 2 seconds. Like you don't
Yep.
that doesn't come back, right? So yesterday, this is brilliant, and I don't know why I didn't think of it, but Chris sent me a video. It's on his channel. I sent the link to the Slack, so Paul has it, but Paul's not running the show today. Anyway, Chris made a video about using the screen capture function in Ecamm, which is Command Shift G to take a picture. Now, I could do it with one hand. I don't know what size hands Chris got, but it is hard to do with one hand, but I can. I got relatively large hands, so I can hit the Command Shift G at the same time. But I have a button on my Stream Deck that says, take a photo. Chris went one step further and put a delay, which is, I'm like, come on, Chris, this is freaking brilliant. Why I didn't think of it? I feel almost dumb. But Chris made the delay. So when you want to hold up a product, like I want to talk about the Tiny and be like, here you go. I hit the button. I got a chance to get situated. And now what I thought of after Chris thought of is I'm actually going to make a countdown or get a countdown that goes like 3, 2, 1, cheese, so it's actually timed up with the 3-second delay so that you can hear it when you're ready in position, kind of like your camera goes doot, 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 like that. Like I'm gonna maybe record that from my iPhone or my Fuji or my Sony, whatever, and then use that with the same button. Like take it to so Chris thinking of that was just so elegant. It's such an elegant solution. But this is what I mean. People like get beyond just making your stuff look cuter. How do you make it more impactful? Because there's some cute people that are straight dumb.
I had to laugh when you posted that yesterday because I was like, that's how I have my button set up. That it was like I thought, oh, that made sense.
The delay is such an easy thought, but
Yep.
you know, I mean,
Yep.
that's what. But Chris doing that's bringing value to people.
Yep.
That's not adding
Exactly.
another like. You know, I mean, when you look like him, you have to bring value because otherwise, who's watching? Hey, it's not my love for Chris if I don't pick on him at least once.
Facts.
and
Well,
the size of his head, even
a
though I
lot of
wear a
times
size 8 hat.
we do transitions, or we do things within a stream as a pattern interrupt. It's to kind of get the person's attention for a couple of seconds. But the problem that most people do is they start repeating those things, and then it goes from a pattern interrupt to kind of get your attention to a aggravation thing because things are moving around and doing these twirly things over and over and over again. And it's like, okay,
Like
I'm getting
like
sick.
like a fly that bugs you the whole time, and you're just like,
You know how you do a pattern interrupt? Here's a very simple. I'm talking about super important. I'm like, and this is the most important thing you're ever going to hear today. That's a pattern interrupt.
Yep.
Like you
Also,
don't,
a
you
pause.
don't. Yeah, my Obama pauses. Hello, it works.
Yeah.
Right. Let that marinate for a second. So, there you go. So I just want to remind people, like, don't spend so much time adding all these things that don't even do anything for your audience. Add value to your audience by actually knowing your subject matter ad nauseum. I know
Yep.
that for most people, if I was to take a gigantic rubber band, the kind that hurt, and pull it back and hold it to your cheek and be like, pitch me your show in under 60 seconds, I'm gonna release this rubber band and hit you in the face. I guarantee you most of y'all can't do it. I'm willing to bet $100 most of y'all can't do it.
Yeah, the elevator pitch.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're busy with the twirling and the new camera and the new mic and all this other stuff. But I'm finally ready to sponsor your show. I'm in somewhere. I got 60 seconds. Pitch me your show. Well, I do this thing for creators, and what I'm trying to do, and I see it at every conference. I see it at every single conference. You get a chance to ask a question to say Gary V, and you start out with your bio. I'm Gretchen Shepherd, and I'm a world-class photographer. Used to be a librarian, and I was a school teacher for these little kids, and all these little kids was crazy. But my question was, oh yeah, and then a lot of times I was leader of this museum, and like none of that had to do with your question. When you're going to ask Gary Vee a question, and he's like, "What's your name?" "Hey, I'm Gretchen Shepherd. I got a question. I want to know what is the most impactful way to get children's authors and children's illustrators together so that we can put out more effective books so that our kids can learn better." That's the question. Nobody gives a shit about the fact you used to be a librarian. Oops, I wasn't supposed to say that on the Ecamm
Yeah. And but yes,
But
on that note, are you gonna finish?
No, I was saying sorry, Gretchen. I wasn't picking on you, but it was an easy one because I know your whole bio.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all.
But I was gonna say on that note, we're gonna conclude this because it looks like we're just starting a whole new live stream on a
Drama.
completely different subject. So we're gonna close out the live
We're
demo.
done.
I
Before
want to
Doc get
thank
in trouble.
more trouble. So I want to thank Paul for taking the time, Doc for sneaking in last minute, and for
Yeah,
all
thank
of
you
you
guys for
hanging out
covering,
here.
man. I really
Yep.
appreciate you guys.
Hey,
no problem.
but you're gonna cover me tomorrow while I'm on my trip to the Apple Store to do the same thing. So,
Oh, I'm gonna be
guys,
Mr. Camera Junkie. I'm in.
all right. Well, that is it. We want to thank you as always, and we will see you next week, same time, same place, for another Ecamm live demo.
With
Talk
Doc.
to you. Yeah, with Doc this time.
Coming straight out of Ecamm.